My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on PowerPlugRadio, home of your throwback jams. You can download PowerPlugRadio app on Google Play and visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode. Healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on PowerPlugRadio, home of your throwback jams. You can download PowerPlugRadio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the PowerPlugRadio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor.
You're listening to PowerPlug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to My Better Living, and welcome to another great episode. I am Nurse Shar, and this is my wonderful co-host,
Latricia Ali.
Hello.
Great evening.
Great evening. We are back with some great information, great news for you. We're talking all about health, wellness, what you can do to live your best life, what you can do to put your best health foot forward. And we've had some great topics to date. I ran into someone and they're like, yeah, I heard you were doing a podcast, and they subscribed and they really love the topic ideas. They really love the topics themselves. So I'm really, really excited just about the information that we're able to share with people. It is June. And this month there are like great things happening. First and foremost, I want to shout out to PowerPlugRadio for hosting us on this platform. Make sure that you download the PowerPlugRadio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore, and make sure you check out the weekend old school mixes. When I tell you, if you are having, I don't care where you are in this world, if you are having a party, a cookout, a just jam session, chilling at the house, you got to get up and clean, play PowerPlugRadio. Weekend old school mixes, those DJs, they throw down. So don't miss that PowerPlugRadio old school mixes. So definitely thanks to the people that's checking in right now. For the people that are listening live, you can also catch playbacks of My Better Living on Spotify. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can also find replays of My Better Living on the PowerPlugRadio YouTube, also on My Better Living YouTube. So you can always catch episodes. If you're feeling like, you know what, I need a change, I need some inspiration, please go ahead and just jump in there. It's June. It's a couple great things that are happening this month. First thing is, this is Black Music Month. So I really like June because it's a great celebration of wonderful Black music. I mean, just, you know, so make sure you tune into PowerPlugRadio. Yes. Secondly, this month is Father's Day. So we have Father's Day coming up this weekend, this Sunday, which is the inspiration for today's topic, which is men's health.
Shout out to the fathers. You are important. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You might not hear it a lot, but we certainly do.
Yes. Thank you. They need that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about men's health, about men. So we're all about the men today. This is just for you. So ladies, if you're listening, go grab your hubby, babe, boo, whatever. Sit them down and say, hey, let's listen to this because they're going to talk about some great things. Thirdly, we like listening to ourselves sometimes, make sure we sound good. Thirdly, is this month is Juneteenth. Juneteenth. Now, I will say that, I was raised in Brooklyn, New York. And so we always kind of celebrate, like we always kind of knew about Juneteenth and always celebrated Juneteenth and always there was always something going on. It was just something that, you just kind of grew up knowing. And, when I moved to Florida, there wasn't as much hype about it. And so it kind of, but when I tell you, now it's a federal holiday as of last year. So if you're a federal government, not government, government employee, you get the day off on, I think it's Monday, because this year it's on the Sunday.
It's on Father's Day.
It's on Father's Day. I saw somebody complaining about that. Like, we barely get enough for this and that, and now everybody's celebrating Juneteenth and nobody cares about the dads. And well, it's just the luck of the draw. Sorry for that, but I don't think it was a big deal. I'm sure this isn't the first time Juneteenth fell on a Father's Day. But it just seemed like it wasn't a big deal before. But the explosion of Juneteenth events that have come down and arose from the dead and grew roots
I gotta pause.
Just
so Walmart tried to put out a
Juneteenth. Talk about it, girl.
cream.
Talk about it. Tell the people about the ice cream.
Because it became a federal holiday, but they no longer have it on the shelves because of the uproar. Like, for real, y'all gonna give us Juneteenth ice cream? And then it was like, now nothing wrong with red velvet cake, but why is the ice cream red velvet flavored ice cream?
I think that it was. Now, I do remember watching the documentary High on the Hog. Did you ever seen that?
I don't know.
So, documentary High on the Hog, very, very good. Find it on, I believe it's Netflix. And, at first I thought when I saw the trailer, they were just talking about food. And I really was like, okay. And I think, I was bored one day. I was like, oh, let me just watch this and see what all the hype was about.
Yeah.
And it actually chronicled, Africans from the west coast of Africa through the main slave port into the U.S., through the South, and in different parts of the U.S. that had some significance to that time in history. But they did it through food. So,
yes.
Starting off in Africa, the foods that were eaten, they also looked at the Gullah Geechee people of South Carolina, and they did a piece on the cowboys and how they ate because the cowboys were black men. They were men.
That's
black
my husband's people. He's literally Gullah Geechee, and he's from Sumter, South Carolina.
Exactly. And so, and then they did a piece on the cowboys, and then they did a piece on where Juneteenth actually originated, which was in Texas, because as most of you know, it was 2 years after they actually freed the slaves that they realized that they were free. That's how fast news traveled. And they actually withheld them, I think. They withheld some information for some time. Yeah. And I want to say that the red velvet, or it was something red, was like a signature dish. And I'm pretty sure they probably got it from High on the Hog, and they thought that they were being clever. But people didn't buy it. They didn't buy into the idea, and I think it was like a grand opening, grand closing on that. I literally saw somebody post, like, you got to be kidding me, and like 2 days later,
everybody did. Yeah. I mean, because
so they tried it,
right? Like, because now you're trying to capitalize. Like, that's all we're trying to do.
In the worst way, though. In the worst way, like you're trying to capitalize in the worst way, and it just doesn't make any sense. So we don't like that.
No.
So we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it real. So Juneteenth, an explosion of events. If you are in the Tampa Bay area, this message is for you. I just want to let you know about the wonderful things that are happening this week and this weekend. So Friday night is Juneteenth jump off right here in St. Petersburg. We will be hosting the Berg Cares, and sponsored by Metro Inclusive Health. We'll be hosting a jump off at Urban Drinkery, 2184 9th Avenue South in St. Petersburg. And that reporting any Juneteenth events, that event is for you to come and just talk and share your stories. There's a lot of Juneteenth events happening all around the Tampa Bay area. So, sharing those stories and sharing in that celebration, everybody can't be everywhere at once, and there's plenty for everybody to go to. So I think it's important to pull people together to say, hey, what you got going on this weekend?
Right.
Maybe somebody might need some last minute something or whatever. So come unwind and, let's just, commune in a kind of way before a successful weekend.
Yes.
So that's Friday. Yes. That's going to be awesome. Saturday, I'm so excited about this event. This is hosted by the 8 Queens Collective, and that is Dads and Jazz. That is also being hosted on the Deuces at Urban Drinkery. There's going to be live music. So it's from 4 to 8. And it's not just for the dads. So wives and girlfriends and family members and brother, whatever, even if you're not a dad, you can still come and enjoy. But really the emphasis is going to be on the dads. And so Dads and Jazz. So there you go. Dads and Jazz is a wonderful way for us to celebrate the men, also celebrate Juneteenth. We're talking about live music. We're going to have, recording artist Cheyenne Roberts that's going to be performing. So that's going to be awesome. There's going to be, a man cave possibly out here. We're going to have, just a lot of things for the guys, cigars. And I believe there's somebody coming to do massages and, just giveaways and gift bags. And it's just a lot going to be going on Saturday at Dads and Jazz. So Dads and Jazz, that's happening on the Deuces Corner. Please come out. Sunday, there's a couple great events happening on Sunday. There is going to be a gathering of the elders at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, and that's going to be on Sunday afternoon from 3 to 5, and just a way to honor the elders and the ancestors. And so again, this weekend is being sponsored by Metro Inclusive Health. And that night, which is a different event but still important, that afternoon and tonight is the Shades of Pride event that is being hosted by St. Pete Pride. That event is featuring guest celebrity T.S. Madison. And so T.S. Madison is a transgender woman. A lot of you probably remember her from the Queen's Court with Kaya. Also, she has her own. She's very big on social media, very much a human rights activist, very much just a human activist. Such a wonderful person. I actually met her a couple years ago when she came for another event that we hosted, and such a person. I love the fact that she takes her mom everywhere. Like, her mom is her road dog, and I can respect that 100%. So she's going to be here on Sunday afternoon hosting panel discussions. There's going to be a show, and this is being hosted at the Factory on 28th Street. And is it Fairfield Avenue? Thank you. 28th Street and Fairfield Avenue here in St. Petersburg. So please, please, please. There are so many events happening this month, and it's going to be the beginning of summer. So I'm all about it. I'm all about being outside.
Coming in hot. No pun intended.
Ooh, you have not lied. Listen, let me tell you. So I've been trying to be good, y'all. Let me tell you, this health journey, and we're going to get into the men in about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But we're just going to talk about how, being healthy is like its own full-time job, right? Or even trying to maintain, okay, I don't want to get any worse. I don't want my health to get any worse. I don't want my weight to get any more. I don't want, things to go the wrong way.
Yeah.
Even that takes work.
Yes.
And so, I've been trying to be good, and I go to my boot camps. But when I tell you, at 5:30 in the morning, it's hotter than fish grease outside.
It's humid too.
If you don't live in Florida, be thankful. I love Florida during the winter time, but baby, I think payback. I like making fun of people that are in the blizzards and under snow flurries, and I send them pictures of me on the beach in the wintertime and on Christmas. Yeah. But when that summer roll around, I feel like it's payback.
I know it is. Like the snowbirds, they come down here for the winter,
and
but
they
as soon
flee.
as that heat kicks
They flee.
They're gone.
They flee
for the summer. That's when you think that everybody wants it, but it's just too hot.
Listen,
your car is hot, your hair is hot, everything.
It's going to be a long day when it's 80 degrees at 5:30 in the morning, and there's not the other day I was outside and it was like 79 degrees, and I kept looking around because I'm like, there's got to be a breeze somewhere. When I tell you, there wasn't a leaf, a branch, nothing. Like the birds were flying around like crazy, and I'm like, that's because they're trying to get air. It was it was like walking out into like a sauna, and I couldn't believe it. Like my shoulders were sweating, and I hadn't even started working out yet. Like my towel was drenched, and I hadn't even started. So it's that time. I think June 21st kicks off
summer solstice.
Mm-hmm. So it's official. Hey, if you've been working on your summer body, summer here. So just enjoy your summer. At this point, just enjoy your summer. We're going to have some great topics for you next week. Next week, I think we're talking about grilling fun and sun love. Yeah. That's and important. Then we're going to end out the month with just talking about how to eat out smart. You're outside, it's hot. Don't nobody want to be in the kitchen cooking on a Sunday all the time. Oh my gosh. And you don't want to be in there with the oven on 375 in Florida in July. So we're going to talk about how to eat out smart coming up. But this week, we are talking about the men. Men, this one is for you. You need it. You need it. You need it. Right. You need it. We're going to be talking about men's health and the things that commonly affect them. Of course, as usual, this segment is the Nurses Station, and it is sponsored by The Bird Cares. I usually go into my spiel, but I do that every week. And I think at this point, you guys know, one of my favorite nonprofit organizations. I'm not going to give you the normal spiel, but I will tell you the things that I really like about the Bird Cares nonprofit organization. I really like the fact that they are community oriented. I love the fact that they speak to what the people are speaking to. So they're able to take, they just have connections. Sometimes that's really important, networking, connections, having, people that you can call, resources. And so, they're almost like a little plug. I like that. I like how they're, connecting people to resources and things and resources to the community. And so that's why I would say the Bird Cares is one of my favorito. I've been trying to practice my Spanish. So the Bird Cares is mi favorito nonprofit organization. We'll get to that a little bit later. So so the Nurses Station is sponsored by that. So we're going to talk a little bit about some harsh truths. Let's just talk a little bit about some harsh truths. I feel like, and I think I talked about this earlier. I was talking to someone, I was like, as women, we're sort of raised to be more health conscious, just societally, there's a lot of pressure put on us to be Wonder Woman and be all those things. And I would say more so than men. I feel like men are allowed to grow old more gracefully than we are. I feel like if you are like a rich man, you could do whatever the heck you want and you can look however the heck you want and you still get whatever you want. Right?
Yeah.
Is it just me?
Yeah, no, because if you could be a rich woman, but if you cracking at the seams,
baby, it ain't gonna listen. It ain't gonna mean much. It ain't gonna mean much.
Yeah,
it don't hold the same weight. I mean, he could be beer bellied, bald, and all kind of. I'm being looked at by the general manager kind of crazy. I mean, he bald, but he ain't got a beer belly. He all right. You all right. I ain't talking about you. But I'm just saying, if he has money, I mean, you've seen it. It's the typical young guy. I mean, look at Anna Nicole Smith. She married this 98-year-old guy.
I don't know if we can.
But he had money.
I mean, he did.
That's what I'm saying. He had money. If he ain't had money, she wouldn't have looked twice. I mean,
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
No, right.
They are allowed to grow old gracefully. Well, here's some harsh truths. So shout out to the people watching. Shout out to Damian Davis, Leslie Lightsey, how you doing, my lady? Cynthia Swain, how you doing? James Swain, how you doing? He says, hello, Superwoman. Beer belly is me. Well, this show is for you, Mr. Swain. So listen up and make sure you guys are sharing and liking and following so that you can get this great news. So 8 truths. Not 8 truths. a couple truths, a couple harsh truths. One, men, you need to realize that you too get old. You too get old. Can I say it again?
Yeah.
You too get old. But again, I don't think that for them getting old, we'll talk about that later because I think they also go through their little midlife.
Yeah.
Menopausal.
That's fair.
We'll talk about that. 2/3 of the men think they are healthier than they really are. Now, I will say I do believe that because when you think about a woman, we have more opportunities to be in front of a healthcare practitioner, to go see your annual lady doctor, to when you get pregnant, I just feel like we have more things that kind of go on with us that puts us in front of a healthcare provider, probably more often than a man is put in front of a healthcare provider. And so I think we're more apt to find things out a little bit earlier than a man would because most times they think they're still healthy.
Yeah. Yes. And I just experienced, I've experienced that from a different side. Okay. When I was younger, the men in my family, it was a thing that they don't go to the doctor.
Why not?
So, from what I've heard, because I did ask that, it's like when you take your car in for a tune-up.
They're going to find everything.
And they like, that's not what I came here for. Just do what I asked you to work on so I can get out of here.
Well, how you going to go in there and tell the doctor what you want them to do and what you don't want them to do?
I mean, sometimes they don't want to know or something. But, they just didn't go to the doctor.
Well, they should because 2/3 of them seem to think that they're healthier than they really are. It's just, like I said, I still maintain that men are allowed to grow old more gracefully than we do. We don't hound men a lot about how they look.
Well, there's also no men's beauty industry. So I'm sure that there's a lot of emphasis. Well, I'm not going to say no.
There's no men's beauty standard.
Yeah, there's no emphasis on beauty. But women, have put and keep it up. Because the more and more I learn is that men oftentimes don't even want some of the stuff that we're doing.
I don't think they care. Like I will get dolled up, lashes, hair, and I'm like, babe, looks good? Yeah, you look great.
Yeah, you look beautiful. You don't have none of that on. How I look? You look beautiful.
You look beautiful. What the heck am I doing this for? I'm just gonna look beautiful.
Right. Hey, listen, but I really feel like sometimes we do it for other women because if the men don't care, we do it for other women.
We do, because we want to be the it girl. We want to be that girl. I mean, but I also think that, like you said, society has placed that on us, those beauty standards. I like to see that the beauty standards are changing for women.
Yes.
And so they're more inclusive, and you can look at now beauty ads, and you can look now at advertisement, and you can see more people that resemble you, or maybe even your body type, or even how your hair is, or whatever. So that's really nice to see, because now we're changing the dynamic of how women consider beauty. But we need to get the men on something, because we need to give them health standards, maybe not beauty standards, but health standards. Another harsh truth for men. Men, are you listening? Just know that men can get breast cancer too.
Absolutely.
Breast cancer aren't reserved for women.
Men have breasts too.
They're
just called pecs.
They're called pecs.
Same tissue.
But you can still get cancer there too. Another harsh truth that was interesting to me, and it made me think about a certain period of time, and I'll tell you about it, that the peak age for suicide for men are actually a lot older than we realize. The peak age for suicide for men are 45 to 49. And you know what it made me think of? You remember when we went into like that big recession in 2008 and the housing market crashed, and
everything
all of these predatory lenders got exposed, and it was just a nightmare.
Crashed.
And a lot of men were killing themselves and their families.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they have the pressure to provide. And if I just saved up all of this and it's gone, you know what I mean? Now,
but granted, you could have just filed bankruptcy and stayed in your house.
True. But how many of us know that? You know what I mean?
Right,
like a lot of them know that. I know somebody that filed bankruptcy 2 times and
How
got a
you
new
do that?
house. I know.
Well, I think it only lasts like 7 years, right?
Yeah, it does. But
Live long enough. You too can file bankruptcy twice.
I think it's just the pressure. A lot of it being the pressure that men have to provide and to be the protection and that probably made a lot of men feel helpless, not being able to provide, and then you also feel like you can't protect at that point as well. So
That's a lot of pressure. So yeah, the suicide age for men is a lot older. Shout out to more people tuning in. Shout out to Miss Bridget, and shout out to Miss Tiffany. I'm so proud of Bridget, one of my good friends, and she is really just doing the best that she can with, working out, walking, eating good. And it really shows, and I'm so proud of her.
Hey,
so I'm glad she's tuned in. I might have you tell us your success story one day, Bridge. I'm gonna give you some time, but we're gonna come back to that. They're twice as likely to die. Men are twice as likely to die from diabetes. So now I will tell you, diabetes is a scary disease because a lot of people say, oh, it's just diabetes. Like, oh, you just take some insulin and shit. And I don't think they realize how damaging diabetes is to like your whole body. Yeah. When you're carrying around that much blood sugar and you are not using it properly, it's literally tearing away at your organs, tearing away at your, that's why
your arteries
think about it.
Scratched from the
Think about it. You remember when you were younger? And you remember, not when you were younger, but you remember when babies were born. Like you remember like somebody having a baby and they would tell you, don't give them like juice or anything in a bottle and just leave it in there. Or just let them fall asleep with the bottle in their mouth because of all that sugar. And the sugar will start to rot at their gums even before the teeth grow. Or if they're like young babies. But it's the same thing with the insides, right? If you have so much sugar floating around, they eventually start to wear on your organs, your blood vessels, and really cause some damage, eyesight, neuropathy, nerve damage, just a lot of different things. And so diabetes to me is just as scary as HIV. Just as scary, So, and men are twice as likely to die from diabetes. And men are more likely not to go to the doctor because they don't want to take time off from work.
That's that provider,
Yeah. Yeah. So, men, these are some harsh truths, and these are the things that as you get older, you may not want to face, like what was the moment that you said to yourself? Because I know what moment it was for me, but I want to know, what was the moment? And you're a very healthy person, and you're very much like in tune with what's going on here. So there may not have been a moment. You may have already been in this space, but when was there a moment when you're just like, holy crap, I'm getting older and I can't keep doing the things that I used to do to my body?
Oh, my body was started telling me, because I wasn't gonna stop. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it was what I liked it. I mean, why would I stop? But then when my body started being like, okay, we don't like this or we don't like this, then I was forced to change. Right. So I didn't have an epiphany moment except for when I was like, my body is.
Yeah. I think that was for me too. I didn't know my body was changing. And this is a testimony that, and I'm speaking directly to the men because I've seen, my husband was born and raised here in, St. Pete. And so he knows a lot of people. And a lot of people in the last 2 years have died. And I'm not going to blame it all on COVID. COVID may have precipitated the death, but at the same time, a lot of these people had a lot of bad habits, bad health that caught up with them eventually. And these aren't older people. These are fairly young people. Now, if you're under the age of 30, you're probably going to look at me crazy. But when you get my age, you're going to understand that if you're between the age of 40 and 60, I still consider you fairly young.
That is young. It is. It is.
That's still working age.
Yeah. Yes.
Those are the people that are usually taking care of a parent and younger kids or grandkids by that point. So by no means do I consider that old. And so, when you have people in their 40s and 60s dying at that type of rate, or even younger, I say 40 to 60, but really we had a lot of younger people dying.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that have died over the last 2 years. And all of it wasn't COVID. COVID was, one of the things that sort of made their situation more dire. But again, I wouldn't have known, and again, there was a point in time, I've always been sort of cognizant about what was going on with my health. Of course, things get away from you. And I think that there was like a period of like, I want to say a year or two where I was just like in the wilderness. Like, I don't even know where I was. I think I was just going so much that and I finally stopped. I'm like, okay, no, you need to go to the doctor. I am the biggest, if anybody knows me, no Shar, I am the biggest proponent of once a year, take your butt to your doctor and get your labs drawn. Like I literally, I had my, let me go to the doctor and see what was going on with me. And I realized I literally had the trifecta recipe waiting for me to get diabetes. My A1C was up, which is a measure of how high your blood sugars are over the course of the last 3 months. My A1C was up, my triglyceride was up, my cholesterol was up. And this was like probably like 4 years ago. I had all these things that were like up, and I was just like, that was my epiphany. And I was just like, holy crap, getting old. I'm getting older, and things don't settle like they used to. Things don't do like they used to. You used to be able to go and run yourself into the ground and bounce back up and do it again. But that was for me. And I feel like there's a lot of men out there that, sometimes you run yourself into the ground, or you're so used to feeling a certain kind of way. And they say this a lot with diabetics. If their blood sugars are really high and they've been functioning like that for so long, when they start to come down and when you start getting them under control, you feel weird. Yeah. Because you've been used to feeling so bad for so long, you don't know what good feels like.
Yes. If I can beg anything of the men, it's the same thing that we say when we talk about women. Self-care. Like, you have a family to provide for, you have a household, you must fill your cup first. Yes. Because what happens if something happens to you? Right. So we've got to, make sure that we encourage our men to do this, because we do need them. Yep. And we have to make sure that we talk to the men about this. And men, talk to other men about getting yourself together, or just taking some time to refill your own cup, because men pour out a lot. They do.
And not only that, we talked a little bit about cancers, the breast cancer, the one cancer that 100% affects men and only men, but at a very devastating rate, is prostate cancer. And a lot of men are afraid to get their prostate checked, because they're afraid of the doctor. And I'm just going to be blunt with you. I'm just going to be straight up with you. A lot of men are afraid that the doctor's going to stick their fingers in their booty.
And say cough.
And that somehow that's going to turn them into a same gender loving male.
But that already happened.
And part of the LGBTQIA spectrum family. No, it doesn't. It just checks your prostate. Stop it. Go get your prostate checked. Go cough. Like, stop playing. But there's a lot of things like that, like it's being familiar. But I think that for women, we are the communicators, and a lot of times we are the connectors of things. We give life. And so we have to breathe life into those men in our lives to encourage them to, as they get older, to take care of themselves and to not be afraid to find something out. To me, I feel like the sooner the better. Find something out.
And also feeding life to the man. Like, if you're a woman that cooks for your family, for your husband, you are because food is medicine. So you are the medicine woman if you are in the kitchen. So you are in control of the foods that your family eats, the health that they get, how fortified your family is. You know what I mean? And all it takes is some seasoning. We use that already. You know what I mean? So it's important to feed life as well.
It is. And you got to think, like, a lot of it is just about longevity. So I'm going to tell y'all something. even before me and my husband got married, I used to tell him, I was like, I need at least 30 years out of you. I don't know why 30 was like the magic number. I need at least 30 years. Like, so if you're going to give me 30 years, I need you to get this together. So
that's a good conversation to have.
that is a good conversation to have. Like, I want you near me. I want you with me. You know, I don't want to lose you. And sometimes, and that might not just be for the man in your family. It might be for anybody who you see that might be struggling, that you really love. You know, it's almost like its own little intervention. You know, I really love you. I really, you know, care about you. And that extends more than just your, you know, physical health, internal health, dental health, you know. Everything. And so we're going to talk about now we're going to transition and talk a little bit about 8 common health problems that men tend to experience. And actually for this, I'm actually going to go to my wonderful little website because, you know, I like me some websites. So this one is from Mission Health. And, you know, they talk about 8 common men's health issues that men should really watch out for. And number 1 on this list is heart disease. And I would say this is for men and for women. You know, we only have one heart. You got to take care of your heart. And more men die of heart disease than any other cause of death. And a lot of times that is high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, you know, like you guys like your steak and potatoes. And when did that become like a staple man's dish? Like, does it make you more manly to eat steak and potatoes? Our general manager is shaking his head. Yes,
and
it makes him more happy.
The two of those should not be eaten together. Look it up. The steak eats the potatoes, and the potatoes eats the steak. So they literally rot through your system because they can't digest.
What do you mean?
Look it up. But yes, steak and potatoes. The enzymes in the potatoes want to eat the steak. The enzymes in the steak want to eat the potato. And they just do this all the way down your tract. It comes out. That's where the bloating and stuff comes from after you eat it.
Y'all heard that? Stay away from the steak and potatoes. But honestly and truthfully, you know, as guys get older, they have different hormones than we have. So, you know, there's things that we need to watch out for. And I think that one of those things with men and heart disease, if anybody with heart disease, diet. And when I say diet, I don't mean the word diet as in go on a diet, but your nutrition, your diet. What are you putting in your body? Eating more fruits, eating more vegetables. I know that that's difficult. If you've gone 45 years eating as little fruits and vegetables as humanly possible, it's going to be really hard at age 45 to say, I want carrots or I want, but 3 weeks. Challenge yourself. 3 weeks. It takes only 3 weeks, 21 days. And if I could do math really quickly, I'd tell you how many hours, but I can't. But that's the only amount of time it takes to start a new habit. Start eating vegetables, you know, replacing those vegetables. And more than anything, I'm such a big proponent. Go see your healthcare provider. Go to the doctor, you know, check your blood pressure. You know, blood pressure is one of those silent killers because it will creep up on you. And before you know it, you will have high blood pressure and not even realize it. Like, I go back to my story. I wouldn't have known that those things were going on because I felt fine. I'm still a spring chicken. I felt fine. So I wouldn't have known any of those things were going on with me if I had not gone to the doctor to get myself checked out. So guys, please, heart disease, go to the doctor. Second common health issue facing men, cancer. We talked a little bit about that. Second leading cause of death among American men. Common men cancers include skin cancer, prostate cancer, colorectal cancer, lung cancers. And again, as you know, men can get breast cancer as well. So, you know, reducing red meat, you know, taking care of your colon. I told y'all this before. You know, your digestive tract can work in 2 ways. It could be a trash chute. And you can have food fighting in your stomach for years and rotting in your stomach. Yeah. Or you can use it as a healing tract.
Absolutely.
You know, and feeding your body to heal your body.
Yeah, and speaking to that, because like I get it, I know that also a lot of men and in our community just don't do the doctors because it's like, listen, we don't trust y'all. We don't think that y'all are hearing us when we say, you know, for the same reason that we tell people to find someone that looks like you in the, you know, in the hospital. However, going just for the physical for the doctor to tell you what's going on does not mean you have to take whatever they give you. You can even take that information, do your own research on natural things and heal yourself, because that's what we talk about. You know what I mean? Because there are herbs and all that stuff out there to heal you of anything that you have an ailment with. So if you need to just go to get the information, like you were saying, do that and then do other research. But I mean, it comes with doing the research.
It does. You know, that's what happened to my mom some years ago. She went to the doctor. She was in the wilderness too. When I say in the wilderness, it's like, you know, you just get so busy with life that you don't have a time to I don't really mean my mom was in the wilderness like she was out here wilding out or anything like that. But she was just like really busy. So one day she went to the doctor, you know, she was stressed. The doctor told her cholesterol was high, and they was immediately ready to write the script. My mom said, stop right there. She said, I will, I'm going to work on that. When I come back, if I'm not able to get this where you like it, then we can talk about an alternative. And so she left. I think that was around the time she started going to the YMCA, and she started religiously eating oatmeal, like every morning.
That is a great heart healthy food. Like oats are really, really good. Really.
She went back to the doctor, and doctor's like, what the heck did you do? She said, I started working out, walking, and eating oatmeal.
Yeah.
And my mom has not been on cholesterol medications.
There we go. So just kind of figure it, like, just go for your annual for them to be like, all right, well, we think you have this, your arm is falling off, your eyes are, oh, okay, I know how to fix that. Thanks. See you soon. Or not, you know?
Right. Go get a second opinion.
That too.
So whatever it is. The next one is diabetes. We talked a little bit about that. Men actually have twice as likely to die, but also have a higher risk of getting type 2 diabetes. So type 2 diabetes as compared to type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes you get as a child usually, and it's when your pancreas just completely do not produce insulin. Type 2 diabetes in some ways, even though people say, oh, diabetes runs in my family. So I'm going to say something, and it might seem a little harsh, but I'm being really honest. I think that type 2 diabetes in some ways is like self-inflicted.
I'm not scared to say it. Okay. Type 2 diabetes comes from food and what you eat.
Self-inflicted.
So you have control over whether you get type 2 diabetes or not.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that working out all the time. A lot of it is, and I'm going to flip this on its head, because working out does keep your body healthy, and I think more than anything, as you get older, it's good to sweat. Yeah, it's good to do weight bearing exercises, because as you get older, especially for women, you can kind of stave off osteoporosis. You want to make sure that you're able to not injure yourself. Falling is different after a certain age. Like you can really hurt yourself. I mean, I think about how many times you've fallen and put your wrist down to break your fall, and just so what working out does is kind of help you prevent injury. It just kind of keeps your body healthy. But at the same time, 80% of that is nutrition.
Absolutely.
But another large part of that is stress. And keeping your stress levels down. I told my doctor, I was like, I don't think I can get rid of this, because my stress, this is my stress. So this is where it stops. This is like, okay, we've done enough. You got to get rid of the stress for us to do some more. I'm joking. But I'm just saying, like, stress in your life can really just, add to what is already, it just compounds the issues that are going on in your body. So,
yes, it does.
And I would say that, considering that most men don't want to go to the doctor because they don't want to take a day off, they seem pretty stressed to me. That seems like a pretty stressful situation.
Yes, which probably contributes to the coronary heart, or to heart disease.
Heart disease
is strongly linked with heart disease.
Right?
Really worry.
Not only that, but with the diabetes, when you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, and your body creates this. I think we talked about this before. Your body creates this nice little spare tire. Lifesaver, because it thinks your body's in constant danger. And so it's trying to protect you and protect your, vital organs. So at the end of the day, but those having like that midsection, mid-tire thing is also that increased fat around your vital organs also increases your chances, reduces increases insulin resistance and increases your chances of, Mr. Swain said the wilderness is where we at when it comes to our health. Exactly. That's my term of wilderness. Like you're just out there just doing and going and you have no idea where center is. So the next one, and this one I think is a little bit sensitive, but we're still going to talk about it because this is a common health problem for men and that's erectile dysfunction. I'm going to give a little pause, a moment of silence. So being for real though, I know that we go through and this is why I say,
don't look at me like don't try not to laugh. I need to grow up.
But men get sensitive about this kind of subject.
Of course.
It's like, we do things to be fulfilled in life. We have babies. We give birth to like life and we breastfeed. That satisfies us. We do things in life as women. We send our kids to school. We watch them grow up. Like these things kind of fill us up. But I really do think that, men have, I don't know, the erectile dysfunction I would have to imagine is pretty sensitive subject for men as they get older. And
now I'm going to tell y'all two things and y'all going to want to argue at me, but it's okay. But you can look it up, okay? Because I looked this up. Erectile dysfunction, number one, comes from not practicing semen retention. Semen retention actually strengthens a lot of things down there and combats and prevents prostate cancer. As well as, and this is, and so too much ejaculation contributes to erectile dysfunction.
When it goes limp, sometimes it just tuckers out. It just says, I'm
Don't
done.
take my word for nothing. Don't take nobody's word.
I'm done. I'm tired. We've had enough.
Yes, like this.
We've had enough. But there are also certain health ailments that can contribute to erectile dysfunction. Having high blood pressure, being on loads of medication, having fat and blood going to other places in your body prevents you from having a full erection. And so, a lot of times, a lot of it is your food and how you take care of your physical health.
Yes, absolutely.
So, little erectile dysfunctional something. Another common health issue facing men is STIs. STIs. And, we not in the same vein as STIs, but, recently they, in Texas, they had pretty much abortion ban. If you can't get abortion after 6 weeks. Who knows they're pregnant before then, but whatever. So, but somebody said, a woman can sleep with 100 men, but she can only get pregnant once at a time. A man can have sex with 100 women and impregnate all 100 of those women. So who's more at risk here?
Definitely he's the one that is creating the most. Yeah.
He's the one that's kind of,
Yeah.
But, I feel like.
But the birth control is for women. And
birth
to me,
control is for women.
It makes more sense to empty the bullets out of the gun instead of shoot at a bulletproof vest.
Thank you.
But that's just me. What do I know?
A lot. But STIs are another, and they talk about also HPV. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to bring this up because Michael Douglas, the actor, came out some years ago. And he said, and people laughed at first until they did their research. Mm-hmm. He said that he got HPV, he got throat cancer from oral sex. And people was like, how you get throat cancer from oral sex? That don't make no dang sense. Well, it's because he got HPV from oral sex. HPV is actually the highest, most common STD. STI, sexually transmitted disease, sexually transmitted infection, HPV, human papilloma virus is it. They now have a vaccine, so if you want to get vaccinated, go ahead and do it. But the men, like, he got throat cancer because he got HPV, and there's certain strains of HPV that then creates of oral cancer, because you had a lot of kids at one point that weren't having intercourse but were doing oral sex, and so that was crazy. So a lot of people laughed at him, but it was actually true. And these are things that I feel like, I don't know why, I just feel like sometimes a lot of the onus is always on the woman to know things but I think it's time that we share with our fellow mates of men, all this wonderful stuff that we know. Hey, you too can get and carry and spread STIs and STDs. I don't care that it's on the outside, and I don't care that you can look at it and see everything around it, and you think that because I have a tunnel that there's something creepy inside, but really, my sir, you too. You too.
That is very true.
Yeah. So another common health issue is low testosterone. So testosterone starts to drop in a man in their 30s, but if that natural decline causes unwelcome symptoms like low sex drive, trouble concentrating, you really should go see your doctor about that. But I think that a lot of these things as men get older can probably create like midlife crisis or something,
Yeah, of course.
Changes like that. We go through a lot of changes as women. I think the biggest change I went through was being pregnant and feeling that process happen, and then giving birth to like a whole human being that had full fingers and toes and limbs and bones in places that I didn't put there. How did that happen? It was friggin' magical. That was the I don't think anything else can surprise me in life. So once you push out a human, man, that's like the most magical thing you can ever do. But men, as they get older, go through a lot of changes in their life that I think surprise them. So I'm going to go back to the first thing I said about the harsh truth. Men, you get old too. So I think it just shocks the heck out of them. What you mean? I have low testosterone. What you mean? I can't get up no more. What you mean? What you mean? I don't understand. And another common health problem facing men is depression. I think that, I think too often we ignore our men when it comes to their health and well-being. And I, as much as I would say, like, they put beauty standards on us, I think we put strength and responsibility on men.
That is very true. I agree with that.
Yeah. So it's
kind of like a lot of our men don't feel comfortable expressing. So whatever you don't let out, it stays in, it festers, and here comes that depression.
It does.
Absolutely.
And I think that we need to start creating safe spaces for our men to really talk about the things that they're going through, especially as they get older, because, they're not robots. And they have, especially, Black men, I think they have their own unique set of challenges that they deal with in the world on a day-to-day, that cause internal stress, that cause strife. And, I feel like we as women should really lead the charge with health and well-being, and being the conduit for healthy living in our families.
Absolutely.
And tell your mate how many years you want out of them. Listen, it's a contract, bro.
And be willing to work with them
to give you them years. Yeah, I told them I need 30. I need 30 years out of you. At least. I want to thank everybody for listening in. This was a great show. This week is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Happy Juneteenth to all the people who are free, or at least seemingly free. We have some great events. Please make sure that you tune into the Bird Cares social media, Facebook, Instagram, to see all the wonderful things that are happening. We will be back next week. Make sure you download the PowerPlug Radio app. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
You're listening to PowerPlug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on PowerPlugRadio, home of your throwback jams. You can download PowerPlug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the PowerPlug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next.
You're listening to PowerPlug Radio, home of your throwback